Daily
everyone.
Whatever Show. I'm Lawrence Winterman.
I'm Dana Dubois,
Aw, that's my best friend.
and this is my best friend. Whichever way you're pointing to in your recap, I think you're going to be this way. I'm going to make it back.
Probably.
That's my best friend.
Oh.
We'll see in the look back if we're both pointing off the screen. Like my best friend is not the person I'm talking to. We shall see. We shall see. Lawrence, you were just on another live, and that confused me a lot. I mean, you're on a lot of lives, but never before this one.
Yeah, it was super fun. I was on with Peter and Philip, and they were absolutely insane and ridiculous. And so
Lovely.
I had a great time hanging out with them for like 25 minutes this morning before our show. They tried to knock me off my game, but I think I brought it. Uh,
Oh,
Kimmy Wynn wrote me and said that I held my own, and so I hope that I did.
held my
I
own.
tried to out funny them at every turn.
Oh, okay. I see. I tuned in for like 2 seconds while I was getting ready for today, and I heard you make the joke about, can you see Russia? He was talking about Normandy and seeing different places. And I was like, oh, did they get the can you see Russia? That's at this point becoming pretty old American humor.
Yeah, I don't know. They might not have.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
I got it.
I got it. I
Some people
mean,
in the audience got it.
right. Any Americans listening in should get that one. Lawrence, you made a new graphic for our show.
I did.
And I'm looking at it now. If I would put it in the chat, except I see it because the chat is not showing for me. Oh, wait, it is. It's a new week, Lawrence, and I have access again.
Oh, amazing. Substack, switch some plugs around on the back end.
I guess so. I guess so. Or my computer got a little bit of a rest this weekend. I don't know. We have a great lineup this week, and I love this new graphic that you've made because before it didn't fit in the space
Yes,
properly.
I did some measuring and figured out how to make a graphic that would fit perfectly in that space. Good morning. Oh, Polly, thank you. Polly said, "Good morning, everyone. Great essay last night, Lawrence." Thanks, Polly.
Yes, we're going to get into your essay, my lazy life because I didn't write an essay, and our guest Femcel's, who just joined. Hey, Femcel, we're going to bring you on in just a moment.
Welcome.
Yes, we're talking about Taylor Swift again, officially. We've done a few chit-chats about her at the top of the hour, but man, a lot of people don't like this record for all kinds of reasons. And I just literally like 2 seconds before we came on shared Femcel's really clever essay that is not a positive review of Taylor, but it's one really worth reading. Because we don't have to agree with one another's opinions to still recognize good writing and, good thinking. And so we're going to start by talking about that, and then we're going to jump off into a whole bunch of topics. I have been enjoying Femcel's thoughts on Substack for a while, so I think we're gonna talk about dating. We're going to talk about academia because she's getting a PhD. We're going to just pop all over the place. So I'm very excited for that. Should we share a bit more about our week since it's Monday and we're just, all waking up to a new week and we've got a great lineup of guests?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got a super fun week planned, and I don't remember it all off the top of my head, even though I just did the graphic last night.
Right. No, I have it right here. I was trying to give you speaking room, but I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I will read off the list. Today we've got Femcel here, and it's going to be a bit of a Gen X, Gen Z conversation. I sometimes our limited, space on the graphic and in the captions makes me say things like Gen X, Gen Z, Taylor takedown, but it's going to be a lot more than that. And then tomorrow we have Liz Lapointe from Gen Excellent returning to the show. We adore Liz.
One of our all-time favorites.
So excited to have her back. She wrote an excellent story about Gen X stereotypes a few weeks back, and we're going to dig into those, kind of examine which ones ring true, which ones don't. And Liz and I are also going to dig into a bit of what it means to parent as a Gen X mom a bit. And you as a Gen X uncle, I think, fully fits into that conversation because how much better would, oh, and Liz is here.
Liz
Hi, Liz.
LaPointe, hello.
How much better would the world be if we'd all grown up with our gay uncles to advise us? I mean, we'd be a very different world, right? Wednesday, we have Ben Ulansey joining us, and we're going to talk about spooky season TV and film picks that he has been loving and we have been loving.
Awesome.
And if you haven't listened yet, we had a great talk about horror film, just in general, with Amy Simon on Saturday. She runs ilovesplatter.com, and boy, is she knowledgeable about horror. So if you're looking for actual, like, deep, scary cuts, or you
Yeah, that
just want to
was
be
an
entertained,
awesome show. We had so much fun with her.
yeah, she was amazing. Thursday, we're calling it Bestie Day because we don't have a theme quite yet. We may talk about our writing. It's just going to be us, Lawrence. But the other thing is, I will be in Portland,
Oh yeah, you could be reporting from the front line of the Great War, from war-ravaged Portland,
or war ravaged Portland.
which,
My
as
elk,
our illustrious leader said yesterday, Portland is burning to the ground. Burning to the ground, he says. Portland is burning to the ground.
yeah,
Wow. You know what's burning to the ground? The house of a federal judge who recently ruled against Trump. Somehow her house mysteriously exploded and her family had to literally throw themselves from the windows to save their lives. Yeah, that's what burned to the ground, Trump. You fucking mob boss.
Lawrence. It's you know how I feel about we all feel about all of this. The Portland thing, being in Seattle, Portland is like our little kid sister, and it has some colleges that my daughter is considering, and we are heading down there to take some college tours. And I had to pause this weekend and talk to her dad, like, who sent me a link someone else did a signal. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was one of Stephen Miller's advisors, had another he was signaling with folks in public and was overseen texting about how the 82nd Airborne is heading to Portland. Portland.
Illegal. Illegal, illegal, illegal. Completely and utterly unconstitutional. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
no.
And I was like, do we still go? And if we go, like, if we don't go, how can we possibly consider sending our child into war ravaged Portland? Because if they send the 82nd Airborne in, it will be war ravaged by us. By us. Anyhow, we're going to figure out what we're going to talk about on Thursday a little closer to the date, just because of the pace of the news. Friday, as always, is Fucked Up Friday, and
Fucked up Friday
we've got Rich Kagan joining us. Very
from
excited.
France.
I'll do it
Only
from
20
France.
days.
So he can be like, is Portland burning? Hold on, let me grab
Right.
another
Is Portland
croissant.
burning? All I can smell from Carcassonne is the fresh bread baking and the lovely cheese melting onto it. Yes.
Oh, oh my gosh. Just having a deep sigh about that.
I will
And
say,
yeah,
since we are quasi topical on news, I was pleased to see, so Oregon planned in advance, right? There's a lot of
yes.
props to the governor of Oregon, Governor Kotek, for planning in advance with the Oregon National Guard to essentially make sending, to activating the Oregon National Guard much more difficult. Trump tried to go around her and send the California National Guard to Oregon, and a federal judge said, "No, bitch, I told you you can't fucking send the National Guard." So then he tried to send the Texas National Guard, and the judge was like, "No, seriously, no National Guard." And his lawyers were like, "But you said California's, we're doing Texas." They were like, "No National Guard."
That's all right. We'll just send in an elite
The clown.
military.
It's time to send in the clown. Don't bother, they're here.
And they're really scary clowns, Lawrence. You know
Right,
how I
there's
feel
right,
about
they're scary.
clowns. They're
It's
like,
the it clown, and not the sad clowns.
oh my God. Carrie in the chat is saying, I love the Lawrence Winterman news delivery. That's why we're doing this show, because me too, for years. And I'm like, more people. need to be delighted by having you interpret their news. Finally, Saturday, for our final day of programming this week, it is National Coming Out Day on Saturday, which is more important than ever to celebrate this day when it comes with far more gravitas than it ever really has in decades, I feel like. You can be more the arbiter of that, Lawrence, but I will be ceding my spot here so that we can have an entire day of beautiful gay men
Yes. So,
for National Coming Out Day.
friend of
And
the
so,
show, Brandon Elrich, will be joining me, and we have invited guest Aiden Wharton, who's a Gen Z. What's that?
that's so handsome.
He's very cute. So it'll be the three of us. You talked about how serious this National Coming Out Day is, and so we'll be celebrating by going gay boy crazy on Saturday the 11th.
Oh my
Probably
gosh.
talking shit and flirting and being outrageous and
Okay,
generally, I don't know, creating culture, which is what queer people do. Queer and
sure.
Black people create culture.
Yes. Lawrence, wouldn't it be cool if someone came out on our show, like someone from like joined the chat and was like, "I'm ready to come out," and came out on our show. I just when you were saying
Pete
that, I was,
Hexeth.
what's that? Like
Pete
Pete
Hexeth.
Hegseth. Yes, let's get Hegseth on here. Who we do need to get on here is Femcel. I'm going to add her just a
Absolutely.
moment.
Do not
Um,
delay a moment longer.
I asked for her bio, and she pointed me to her page here, and I'm going to read this though. I maybe disagree with a few of the words. Evil, perverted, bisexual loser in LA, writing about culture, sex, and literature. And you can pre order her Femcel Erotica book that releases December 10th on her page, which I will actually. Can you grab the link, Lawrence, while I do the adding
Yeah.
here? We'll divide and conquer. And the words it's the word loser is really jumping out at me. And we're going to have a talk right now about how that's a very Gen X word for self-referential purposes, and I am here for it. Femcel. They should really, hey, Substack, you should set it up so that you can add someone a certain, like 10 minutes in, add so-and-so, so that we don't have to pause and do this. Here she comes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Loud
of
and
course.
clear.
How are you?
Okay, I'm not you're not getting I'm not coming out here, but you're getting my first live. So I'm losing my live virginity to you guys at
Yes,
least.
welcome,
So,
welcome. We promise
Yay!
we will be gentle. It's so much fun to be on a live. I think you're gonna love it. So that sounded like a very man thing to say.
you're gonna
I'll be
love
really
it,
gentle,
dude.
baby.
I'll be real gentle, babe. It'll be great. You're going to love it. Ew, sorry. I
I
didn't mean
know,
to make
yeah,
things
seriously.
weird right
I just treat
away.
myself out.
Ah,
It's so
Femcel,
funny.
welcome. Welcome to the Daily Whatever Show. I am so excited that you're here. I've been enjoying your writing for a while, and this is one of my favorite parts about podcasting is having people kind of come to life and getting to know the person behind the words on the screen. I have read your bio. Is there anything else you would like to tell all the fine folks in Daily Whatever Land about yourself before we get started?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think the bio sums it up and everything else you said before about I'm getting my PhD and we're going to talk about a bunch of subjects I'm really excited to talk about. So, thank you for having me on. You guys are great.
No, it's
Oh,
such a pleasure. And you're in LA, right? I mean, the beautiful
Yes.
blue sky we see behind you is an LA morning. Yes, very jealous. I lived in LA for a year and a half not too long ago, and I fell in love with the place. I'm so sad to not be there right now. So please enjoy LA for me.
Lawrence is
Thank
in Fort
you.
Wayne, Indiana. So
I'm in Indiana now. My
and
family's here, and I moved home to be close to my mom. So
Aw.
there's a good reason behind it, but also like I'm such a West Coast boy at heart, and I really, really fell in love with LA.
Totally. No, I'm from here. I'm in love. I say this is like the city that my soul lives in. But if you're ever here, let me know. If you're ever in Southern California.
Absolutely, absolutely.
all right.
Yes.
Well, now that Portland is war ravaged and LA seems to have gotten over the war, because you all were war ravaged for a hot second too, right?
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
I'm being very tongue in cheek there. Yeah, we may need to make our way down to LA. I have a daughter who's a senior in high school, so we're looking for schools. But enough about that. I think first thing, should we jump in and talk about Taylor, and let's get that out of the way of
Yes, but wait, Lawrence, I know you have strong opinions on this.
That's okay. We can both have strong differing opinions. Here's the thing. I'm gay. I love divas, right? Like I love Charlie XCX.
Mhm.
Sympathy Like a Knife is a fucking banger. I absolutely loved it. I'm not going to argue that Charlie isn't great. She's fucking phenomenal.
Totally.
And I'm going to put these links in the chat. Hold on. We're getting the links. And while we're doing that, some backstory. So we plan to chat. Femcel and I have been talking back and forth for weeks now. This was not. We're not coming here just to talk about Taylor, but I did see as I was looking at your newest stuff over the weekend that I was like, "Oh, she's writing about Taylor." Lawrence and I had each given our initial thoughts on the live, and then he posted that great story last night. I recorded a video because no time to write of where we each came in on it, and I was like, I think there's a lot of truth to all of this because I went back and well, actually, before we get into any of the specifics, Femcel, can you give some of the backstory on the beef between Charlie XCX? I would call it beef light. Actually, it's kind of like I don't know, sliced turkey meat or
Tofu.
something. It's not really like hardcore beef. But can you give a bit of the background for those listening who may not be aware of the diva spat going on?
The diva off.
Wow.
um, so Charlie XCX used to open for Taylor Swift back in like the late 2010s. And just Charlie XCX, I think kind of like Lauren said, is like a lot more diva. She's more chaotic. I kind of say like degenerate chic. Like she's just very like wild and out there in this like more Gen Z kind of way, I guess you could say. And so for a long time, she was kind of like just like the runner up, the opener. And then and she was always feeling very insecure about that. And then her and Taylor basically dated guys in the exact same band. So they're always like backstage at their shows, and Taylor's always there and had like all these huge mainstream accolades, and it made Charlie feel very insecure. So Charlie wrote this song. And then, oh, by the way, that guy in the band ended up dumping Taylor. And I think that spawned one of, I forget which album, but she wrote like a whole album about losing Maddie Healy.
Right.
Um,
Tortured
but
Poets. It's a big theme in Tortured Poets. Yeah.
Tortured
Yeah.
Poets. Okay. I'm not up on the Taylor lore as much as I am on the Charlie, but okay, but think it's Tortured Poets Society, right? That was okay, so that was about Maddie Healy breakup. And basically, so then Charlie wrote this song, Sympathy is a Knife, about how she gets all this sympathy for like not doing as well as Taylor, but it's a knife. Like, who wants sympathy? It sucks, you know? Um, and so I think right now the discourse is kind of like, was it really a diss track to Taylor or not? Because she does have this line of like, fingers crossed behind my back. I hope they break up, backstage at my boyfriend's show. And I think hoping someone gets dumped is a little bit of a diss. And then obviously, like, we all know what happened there. But then Taylor responded in her The Life of a Showgirl album with this song, Actually Romantic, about how Charlie is like a chihuahua barking at her from a little purse. And I kind of read about how like it descends into this like psychosexual madness thing where Taylor's like, it's turning me on and getting me wet, how obsessed with me you are. And it's a little tongue in cheek, but it like then becomes kind of sincere. And yeah, but I would say, and then, sorry, I forgot, major plot point, final piece is that Charlie was basically about to hit like number 1 on a UK Billboard chart. And musicians do this a lot, like they'll re-release stuff just to stay on the charts, but Taylor does it so strategically and so much to bump other women off charts. And Taylor's PR like firm, like or like the like Swift Nation basically re-released some new stuff just in the UK just on that day that Charlie was going to hit a Billboard chart. And so she just like bumped her off, and like Charlie, who had, like, never, gotten anything near to the success of Taylor, was just, like, kind of not callous. It was just not nice,
Yeah.
basically. So
That
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 started the
was a total
beef.
dick move. Like 100% granted, that was a total dick move. Like I don't love the way that Taylor kind of guards number 1 positions like that. That it's not cool. It's definitely not cool.
It's not. There is some irony in it, I feel like, because this track is on Brat, which for those listening is kind of the
Charlie's biggest
record.
album to date,
Yeah,
right? Like
the
Brat
record that
absolutely had
catapulted.
success, massive success. Yeah.
And it, like, end of year polls, like Charlie XCX was at the top. I mean, she beat like I'm trying to remember, and I don't have them all pulled up in front of me, but indisputably that record was on par or even ahead of Tortured Poets. So it's the album where she admits this insecurity to say, I'm in number two position, where she actually really catapulted herself, I think, into a pretty top tier spot. I mean, nobody has the 20 plus year background that Taylor has, but yeah, my kids are Gen Z too. They're 15 and 17 and are more Taylor fans, but like I mean, undisputably in her age group, Charlie XCX has more appeal and will likely have more staying power because she's got more years to go of being young, right? And
Well,
she got the go.
sorry. What
Oh,
I think
sorry.
is so crazy is Charlie is I think people think Charlie's like I don't know how old they think she is, but just she's 33. She's like 2 or 3
Ooh,
years younger than Taylor, which is so
okay.
crazy.
Oh, that is really interesting.
I
I
thought she
thought
was
she
like
was in her
25.
20s, like her
Yeah.
mid 20s.
No.
Oh, okay. So
Really
just
interesting.
really interesting. And the other interesting layer is she married her band guy. She's married to the drummer now, right? And Taylor, so lore, Tortured Poets came out, and I think everyone thought it would be about her 6-year relationship ending with Joe. What's his name? Altero. I'm not that big of a fan that I know all the names that
Owen,
well.
Joe Owen.
Alwyn, thank you. I have got the
I've
wrong.
gone full like
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw the Eras tour movie, and that was what like totally Taylor pilled me, and I've gone full rabbit hole ever since.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Lawrence, for serving as my brain. We do this for one another. Um,
Amazing.
but I was surprised when I heard Tortured Poets of how much of it was about, seemed more about Matt Healy. Because that was her rebound guy. That was her, like, yeah, we've always kind of been hot for each other and I'm available now guy, right? Who I think she also really liked. And then he was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
no.
I think the vibe with Maddie Healy was like super hot passion,
Yeah.
like crazy infatuation. Yeah, I think he was her. Well, I'm not going to actually name it. I know Dana so well. We've known each other for so long. I could literally like cite people in her past. I'm like, that was your blah blah blah. But I'm not going to
You
do
can
that
do
live
that.
on air.
You can do that. I'm curious who you think it was.
Michael.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He is the smallest man there ever was. So I'll take that. I'll take that. So Lawrence and I have been friends for like since fourth grade.
47 years.
Since
For
fourth
longer
grade.
than you've been alive, kid.
Twice as long. Yes. We're like best friends from all the way back. So
We went to elementary school together and middle school and high school and
at
college
college.
and then moved to Seattle and then yeah.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, you guys are like, yeah, family at this point. That's
Oh, for
crazy.
sure. Absolutely.
100%.
Dana, I like to joke that Dana's my desert island person, like of all the people, I would prefer to be stranded on a desert island with her. Like we wouldn't have any sex because, I'm gay, she's straight, but we would never run out of things to talk about. We would
Right.
absolutely like just spend the rest of our lives, talking to each other and we'd be
Yeah.
fine.
We would be fine. And that's why we do this. I've had friends be like, you and Lawrence go live 6 hours a week, 6 days a week for an hour. And how do you not run out of things to talk about? I'm like, oh, sorry, ambulance going by my house.
Yeah, we haven't it's been 47 years. We haven't run out of things to talk about yet.
we're talkers. And it's not always Taylor Swift. I went back, I read your story in a bar where I was doing some research Saturday night, which was a really our favorite bar, Lawrence. I was at Gainsbourg.
Ginsburg.
And then I got my car and I listened to that track again through your eyes on the way home. And I was like, dude, you're right. The Chihuahua line is really fucking stupid.
It is stupid.
And here was a thought that I posited after reading it, because you have a part in there where you're like, I don't want to hear. You're specifically calling out that it makes me what line at the end when she's talking about how turned on she is. Um, it was cringe a bit. And also, you have a funny line like, I don't want to hear about my English teacher sex life.
Right, my millennial English teacher sex life. And Dana and I were both like, "Oh, like we're Gen X." So we look at Taylor and we're like, "Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for that kid hooking up with a football player who,
Right. Do you
she
think
writes a
there's an
song about his cock." Like, okay, Taylor.
Yeah, and I think that there's to me, there's a win there of, I mean, obviously music is far more lewd than, talking about her thighs getting wet these days. But Taylor never could, or never did, because she was the perfect blonde Barbie. She was like, she had to be, uh, she was everybody's, like, such a role model in such a way that she never veered into very sexual territory. I would say that even though she's beautiful, obviously, and she's in these, performing outfits that are very sexy outfits, she has never been very sexual before. It's very just a performance. Um, I'm trying to make my point here, and I don't know that I have one.
Yeah.
I was like,
I really
"Where are
did
you
have one
going,
of
Dana?" I'm
of
along
like,
for the drive, but I'm not sure we know where we're going.
where are we going? Sorry, sometimes the 7 a.m. thing really doesn't make my brain as fresh as I want it to be. But to me, there was a very like ease to, or like, thank God you're finally just letting loose a little bit. Like, I feel like she put a little bit of a guard down to be like, y'all know I actually have sex, right? I'm not just heartbroken all the time. And I now feel free enough to talk about it.
But
I
how
like
did it come across to you, Femcel? Like, we obviously have our perspective, but how did it resonate with you?
Yeah, no, Dana, I totally get what you're talking about. I think there's like two conversations happening about that line and also just the more like sexy showgirl aesthetic, which by the way, I do love the shots for the album. Like, I don't know who was in charge of those shoots, but they're so incredible. Like, they make me want to go back to Vegas in the 80s and like go to a real showgirl show. Like, they're so good. Um, but I think there's a sense that, yeah, Taylor for a long time was doing more like poetic kind of stuff, like all of her like pandemic albums, and she wasn't leaning into like hardcore raunch sex appeal. And now like some of these other singers like Sabrina Carpenter, Charlie XCX, maybe a little bit Olivia Rodrigo, Tate McRae are doing that a lot more, and they're getting more raunchy and open. And so maybe she's strategically trying to like piggyback on that because obviously she's just in numbers bigger than them. So she can kind of just do whatever she wants and just get more eyes, and that seems to be selling right now. But I think also the like "It's Getting Me Wet" line was her trying to, I think, participate in that kind of like raunchy, bratty, kind of out there chaotic thing that Charlie does, not just in the album, but in her performances. Like if you watch videos of her live performing, like she's in like a t-shirt and underwear and just like dancing and like getting down like crazy for like an hour and a half, like no choreo, no backup, no nothing. Like it's really just her like commanding this huge presence on stage in a way that I don't know, maybe Taylor envies. But I think the issue with the "I'm Getting Wet" line is it feels like she's trying to mimic that, is what I wrote about. And like I just don't know if, I guess I don't know the true like inner erotic world of Taylor Swift, so I can't really fully say or not, but I
Oh my
just
God,
can't.
there's your thesis idea.
Her inner erotic world. But I just have a hard time believing that she genuinely, or even in a tongue-in-cheek way, is like finds some sort of like eroticism or turn on from another woman's bad wishes upon her or insecurity. Because I write about in the piece like Chapel Roan, who's like, like this famous like lesbian pop icon right now, talks about how she has like a crush on Regina George. And like I know a lot of like lesbian and queer women who are like, yeah, like I have like a fetish for the mean girl. Like I want like a mean girl to like push me into a locker. And like that's like a real thing and you can't get turned on by that. I just don't know if that's Taylor. And I think just Charlie's song was so intimate and vulnerable and honest about like the ugly insecurity and like existential longing to like have success that you just maybe can never have. And then Taylor responded with this kind of like cheap response, and like she could have done something really exciting or interesting or like given us like a real diss, and it just kind of fell flat and insincere, essentially, is my thought on it.
Yeah. So my take, like the summary of my take is I like the song a lot. Like I think it's a great song. It's got really good hooks. I would absolutely agree with you that lyrically it is no match for Sympathy Is a Knife, right? And what it made me think was kind of about production timelines in music. I know this sounds esoteric and dumb, but like think about when Taylor was making the track, like it was kind of early mid 2024, right? And so she's in the middle of her tour. She's in Sweden with Max Martin and Shellback, and it's kind of like the peak of the ongoing Drake and Kendrick beef, so it's right when like Not Like Us was dropping, and that like kind of peak Kendrick Drake stuff was happening. So I wonder if there was some element of that going on too, where she was like, oh, like a diss track, like I've always kind of wanted to respond to this Charlie XCX song. I mean, you make a good point about timing, that it seems like she's kind of coming to the conversation late, but also it made me think about what was actually happening when she was writing it, which is probably mid to early 2024. So I don't know. Like I like this whole album. My thesis on it is like she's had the best 3 years of her life, and I'm here for millennial female joy, right? Like she's finally found a dude that she like is really happy with. It's not the dude we all thought she would end up with, but hey, I get it. Give me a football player who knows how to fuck, and I'm down for that. She bought back her masters, which was this huge deal. She was in, after for years, and she did the Eras tour and made $1 jillion. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, she had a good couple years, so she made a fun record. Is kind of my takeaway, I guess.
No, I'm definitely pro victory lap for her. Like, you're so right. Like, the Eras tour was crazy. I think as you were talking, it reminded me of the one other thing that I think people are talking about with this is honestly a lot of Charlie, like the original Brat songs were a little bit disoriented. Oh, not disoriented, like tired, but like they were like kind of like dis vibes. Um, but the other way people kind of respond, because also you were talking about the Kendrick and Drake beef and like the different
Yeah.
ways to go about like having, kind of like beef with another artist or light beef, as I think Dana, you described
Right,
it.
right.
Like a ground
Sauteed
turkey.
tofu, maybe. Yeah.
Or yeah, maybe an impossible.
Yeah.
Go on.
It's like, no, Lord, like Charlie wrote a song that was kind of clearly about Lord, about how they're kind of compared a lot in the music industry, and like people mix them up because they have these like New Zealand British accents, and like Americans can't or don't care about the difference, can't tell.
Dark curly hair.
And they both have like the big curly like brunette hair. And Charlie like writes like has something about like, like you're always writing poetry, you should come to my parties. Like it's a little like teasing. And I guess like, Lord could have responded in a maybe like a ruder way, but she wrote a remix song with Charlie that was like such like probably the best writing on the remix album, about how like Lord's actually just like deeply insecure about her body and doesn't know how to like be in the spotlight and go to these like shiny parties with like a lot of paparazzi and cameras everywhere because she's like insecure about how she looks, and she's like been at war in her body and all these things. And so they like work it out on the remix is the famous line. And I just think like that was like a model for how Taylor could have like responded, and that was like so much better than beef. I mean, I'm honestly like I also love a diva. I'm down for a really good diss track. Like if it had been a really good diss track and like really gone back at Sympathy's a Knife, I would have been here for it. It just didn't. And so I was a little like, I need to say something on my Substack. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys had any thoughts on the Lord stuff or anything else around it.
I absolutely agree. I think the way that Charlie and Lord kind of managed to talk through their beef and end up like doing this awesome remix together that added to the value of the original song, right? Like it took the original track and elevated it. Absolutely was a model. And I think, dare I, like, in the same way that I feel like the Beyonce Taylor thing, right, where the world keeps wanting to pit Beyonce and Taylor against each other, and they keep being like, no, 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 we're cool.
No,
Like, you
we're
guys
elevating
can't
each
make us
other.
fight. Like, I think it's a model of, dare I say, female energy showing male energy where it's fucking wrong, and being in alliance with each other as opposed to falling into the narrative of we have to fight because we're both successful. Like that is bullshit. The setup that women experience where there can only ever be one. There can't be two strong, smart women at the same time. That's bullshit. And
Yeah.
so I love the fact that Charlie and Lord were able to kind of have a completely different experience.
Right. I agree with you, Lawrence, that I know you really like we really like the Taylor track. It's not my favorite on the record, and especially after reading your write-up, I was like, oh, I can't not hear what is not great about this. Taylor had the ability to give a really nuanced answer, and so I think her choice not to was intentional. And I can't speak to why, but I agree that was a missed opportunity. She's generally one for elevating women. I mean, she's had so many women rise to fame through her opening stage, including Charlie XCX. Like she's clearly made a point of elevating artists up on the way. So yeah, it was a little bit of punching down.
All right,
The one
we
thing
promised we weren't going to talk Taylor the entire
the
time,
whole time, I know, I have one
and we're
closing thought.
35 minutes in.
I know, I have one closing thought on this, which is that my thought, I love how the song and the album ends with Life of a Showgirl and with her and with Sabrina being like, thank you very much, good night, the actual live track from her final Eras tour. And there's something about that send off and this theme of perfection that I talked about before, of like she couldn't swear before and she had to make no missteps. That to me, listening to this album and thinking of the trajectory of her career and how perfect she's needed to be, I'm like, we're all showgirls. I feel like there was this sense of send off of like, and I say this in my video last night, of like, all you women who have to go out there and put on your show, whatever it fucking is, who have to show up and do it 10 times better than the dude next to you, and you have to keep all the balls up in the air without dropping them every day. Like, it's a hard life. And there's a lot of beauty and joy and spangles and color in it, but it's also really hard. And to me, that was the send off at the end. I have no idea if there's any intent behind that, but that like, hey, I hit a joy milestone. Though there will be more eras, but this one I'm in right now is like relishing the joy of what it means to be a woman in 2025, which always means being on show. I don't know.
I
Maybe
love that.
thanks. Yeah, the diss track, yeah, could do without that, but I'd play Wood again for 3 or 4 times because I love that song. Do you have any final thoughts before we move on and talk about you getting the PhD in English? Speaking of writing.
No, we can
We can
move
wrap
from the
this.
Taylor discourse. Yeah.
You're like, please, God, let's move on.
I know. When we were talking about topics and themes, I'm going to bring these up side by side. You are getting a PhD in English, and also you wanted to talk about employment or unemployment specifically, side by side. I don't entirely know why, but I assume that they are related. Can we jump into the degree you're pursuing first?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I'm in my first, not even my first year. Like last week was my first week of the English PhD, so I'm very fresh. I'm very new, but I am pursuing it. But you don't call me you can't call me doctor yet. But so far it's been amazing. Like I saw friends last night and they asked how it's going, and I was just like, it's so nice when there's something you really want, because sometimes you really want something and then you get it and you're like, this isn't it. Like you get the job and you're like, ugh, I want to quit day one. But this is the opposite. I'm like, I really wanted it and I was right to want it. I'm just very happy here. And the program itself is great. I won't give too many details because I try to maintain privacy. But I love where I am and stuff. I'll say it's in on the West Coast. We'll say, because the blue skies, I guess I'm giving that away. But I'm still in the sunny part of the country. But yeah, I love it. And then to the unemployment thing, I think just my first article that really, like got a lot of numbers and views and likes and reposts on Blue Sky and things like that was about before I got into the PhD program, and I was just really struggling to get a job. And I just think the job market right now is so bad. So I'm endlessly grateful for the PhD program that I'm in because it is fully funded. So I do get like a stipend and then later a salary for TAing.
Oh,
So
nice. That's
it's like
amazing.
a job for 5 years. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I was like, whew. The only issue is it's like they pay us 9 months out of the year, so in the summer I have to find something to do. But usually there's some sort of like teaching or research opportunity that I can find, or you know, just go live at home and babysit. But just it's security for 5 years, but then it's so paradoxical because it's security for 5 years and there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of strategic ways to build up your CV and things. But looking at the current status of university funding and research funding and particularly appreciation for the humanities, I have no idea what job may the future may hold for me or not. Like I have a really great mentor who's actually a history professor, but she's doing a fellowship in Southern California right now. So we get like dinner or coffee once a month and talk, and she gives me a lot of advice. And she was just giving me all these strategic advice to get like a tenure track position as a professor after the PhD, but it's so difficult. And so I'm kind of thinking about like other careers in writing or working in university, but maybe more in like advising. And I don't know. I mean, I hope to write a book before my PhD comes out, like a fiction, and then hopefully that is how I can make a living. And I don't know, I still tutor right now, but it just I'm 25. Like I think my generation just feels like you just have to be spinning every wheel and being on every hamster wheel all the time. And like, I don't know, I've considered maybe just like taking the LSAT, not even because I want to be a lawyer, but just to like tutor and like prep people for the LSAT because I do a lot of test prep tutoring work anyway, and just like figuring out like every little thing you can do to like make more money and whatever. So that's why those were connected to me essentially. But I don't know, you guys are, I just want to say I love Gen X actually. There's no Gen Z in my world. There's no Gen Z Gen X beef, but I'm wondering what your guys is like, what you guys hear from friends, because I don't know if you guys saw the New York Times had an article about how Gen X is like screwed because you guys are all like in your 40s and 50s and are supposed to be like right now ascending in your careers and like locking into these big positions, and it's like the boomers are still like sitting in those positions, or those positions are just like kind of being cut out and being given to like some really overworked, tired, like younger person. So I don't know how this like unemployment conversation feels for you.
It's
Lawrence,
real
would you like to take
incredibly
that one?
yeah, it's incredibly timely and topical for us, right? Like, so Dana and I obviously we've been talking for years, and I have had this thesis for a long time that boomers are breaking kind of the generational model because they're staying in power too long, like due to great healthcare, due to the fact that they're just feeling like, oh, 65 is the new 45. I'm still perfectly capable. I can keep doing my job. And it's breaking kind of the generational model because we, as Gen X, Dana and I are both 55, and we're at a point in our careers where exactly what you're saying, like we're supposed to be sort of heading into the top spots, but we're getting pressure from the millennials who are like, no, yeah, we've been working for 10, 15 years already. It's time for us. And the boomers are not letting go. And so we're being squeezed from two directions. And then on top of all of that, we're going through the massive shifts in the economy through AI and just tech consolidation and late stage capitalism and all of that. And we're feeling it really profoundly. Like I have been looking for a job for a year and a half. I was at that point in my career where I had been really successful at what I was doing for 20 plus years. And suddenly these mass layoffs happened and there is just no hiring happening. Um, so I've got my niece is 28, my nephew's 22. He's finishing up at IU right now. And we have conversations about like what they should be doing, like how Gen Z should be thinking about the workplace. And I mean, it feels already really like I don't know that there's good advice because I don't think any of us really know what's going to happen next. Like I was going to kind of make a joke, like you're locked in for 5 years, like that gives us time to have the new American Revolution and like the Nuremberg trials that we need to do to get rid of Trump and all of his people. And you can be an English professor in the new America when we actually value education again. But man, that's a hope. You know, um, it's a weird space. Dana, what do you think?
I'm plus 1,000 everything you said, and we talk a lot on this podcast about how Gen X is the fulcrum generation, and how we, when we were teenagers, Lawrence and I, like we could see the old world where there was like, the dad went to work and the mom stayed home with the kids, and there was money enough to buy a home and a car and send the kids to college. And then we saw, pensions went away in favor of 401ks. And so Gen X, our tiny little whatever loser generation, which I love that you said loser in your profile, we were the first ones where that safety net started getting pulled back. And we know the generations after us are only seeing things worsen, but we're first and we are coming to retirement age or approaching it, looking ahead and being like, how the fuck are we ever going to do that? So we're both like completely worn out and not financially set up to retire anytime soon, if ever. And we're also getting pushed out of the workplace. And we're in a political space now where things like safety nets are becoming even more ludicrous to contemplate. Like they're only going away; they're not getting stronger. So I don't know what happens in 10 or 15 years. Are the streets going to be strewn with Gen X people on their guitars? Like,
Right.
please
Right.
hire.
Please give me money.
We'll work for what? What would we work for, Lawrence? If we had we'll work for food. Like we'll work for
Weed? I don't know.
I don't know either. So we I also think there's a huge Gen X to Gen Z connection that like I look to my teens and their friends and I'm like, "Oh, you all inherited our dark humor and irony and a bit more kind of I don't want to say self-sufficiency, that's not the right word, but just a sense of like you just have to get in there and do it." Um a- that I feel like maybe skipped a generation, this huge generation in the middle. And I'm not picking on my millennial brother, and I do we have lots of millennial friends I see here in the chat. But there is a difference, and I feel like that there is like a soul connection between Gen X and Gen Z of like, we know how fucked we are.
Right. Right. I feel like Gen Z definitely has the cynicism of like, oh yeah, the world is fucked. Like climate change is real. It's going to be a disaster. Like we're heading into, what looks like to be an age of new conflict. And for Gen X, that was nuclear war, right? Like we absolutely grew up with the overriding fear that we were all going to die in a nuclear holocaust. Like it was
Yeah, Russia was
so
yeah.
certain for us.
So yeah, I think that answered your question, and I wish we had it. Like we should have wisdom for you, and and we should have money
Yeah,
to loan
it's
you guys.
honestly it sucks that we don't have wisdom.
Yes.
That we're just kind of like, yeah, no, you're right. It's fucked. We don't have any good advice because literally everything is changing.
Right. I look to my like I'm like amazing. It's so amazing that you're focusing and doubling now triple degreeing down on a liberal arts degree, a degree that shows that you know how to think and write. And when we went to college, that there was a big emphasis on like companies will hire history majors and English majors because they'll know you know how to do those things, that you're a deep thinker and that you can write, and those are important. And then that as the costs of college have gotten so astronomical, there was this sense of like just learning how to learn and think isn't enough. You need something that you can guarantee make money for when you get out. And now that my kids who are not that much younger than you and you are coming of age, I'm like, maybe that advice is reverting because we don't know where the economy's going, right? It used to be that a degree in computer science and you were just set for life. But with AI so good at writing code now, I there's part of me that is like, yeah, take your 5 years where you're making money, you're doing something you're passionate about and that you love doing, which always puts good in the world. And let's see where you are. Like I wish I'm inspired by what you're doing because I think the world needs more writers and more thinkers, or we're never going to get out of this mess we're in, and we're never going to find joy again. And also, yeah, I it's the multi hyphenate thing, right, Lawrence? Like we're all going to be hustling for our whole lives, and
I'm curious though, Femcel, what is your specialty? Like, I know you're brand new, like in the PhD process, but do you know where you want to focus at this point? You must have an idea, right?
Yes, we all have to write a long statement about and supply a writing sample of our specialty, even if we totally change once we get in the program. It's like a little bit of like a wink and a nod or something. I don't know. But
Right.
I say Victorian, like 19th century, but it's really I do love that era. And it's that, and then also sort of the collapse of the Victorian era and the Gilded Age, because I'm interested in what happens kind of to our conversation, I guess, just now of what happens when a very stable system, like cultural, economic, any type of system just collapses. And then there's just this sort of void. And then at the turn of the 20th century, you see so much chaos. I mean, notably the World War I, but you also just see like the Roaring Twenties, and then like the literature of Edith Wharton and F. Scott Fitzgerald is a lot more doom and uncertain, and like all the characters are just sort of desultory and lost and unsure. So I just kind of say it's sort of the transition from Jane Austen to Edith Wharton that I'm focused on.
Nice. Brilliant. I love it.
I guess
Yeah.
I
And
do have a smidge of advice, which is in your one rare and precious life, if you are passionate about a topic like that, something that you can look at the literature you love and step back and see the broader truths that are in it and help bring it out into the world, do that. Like there are no guarantees in this life, but like, oh my God, I envy you the ability to spend your days like digging that deep into something you're so passionate about and bringing it out into the world. Nothing will make you feel better in life than knowing you've done that, right? Like the
Thank
end
you.
of the day, that's what your life is for.
Oh my God. Thank you, Dana. That's so nice. Thank you. No, and you're right. Every day I wake up with and go to sleep, honestly, like with so much gratitude that this is like, I was having a conversation with my friend who's having kind of a quarter life crisis. And she was saying like she's worried she's going to be like 60 and look back on her life and feel like she didn't do enough. And I was saying, like, I mean, I said this in a nice way. I didn't want to make her feel bad, but I said, like, I totally relate, but also I'm in a period of my life where I don't feel that way. Like I'm taking a big exhale of like I at least have like a few years where I know I'm doing something I really love and like I get to write and read and speak
Yeah.
with people. So, and I told her like you should do and find that thing. Like I agree, people should, even if it's just for a couple years or one school program or a hobby or something they do outside of work, like just something that really makes you feel like you pursued what your soul wants or what your mind wants and all that. Yeah. So thank you.
absolutely. What
Yeah.
is the book that you're writing? Or you said you wanted to write a fiction book, I think. Is that in process or
Yes, it is. I'm very I have like weird periods where I'll write like thousands and thousands of words and then like months where it's like nothing, which I'm like kind of fine with. I think there's like Substack has kind of like a micro culture of like people writing about how to write, and something that really resonates with me is just like some people see it as procrastination of like, oh, I haven't written for a month and then I write in a frenzy, but like that's just kind of your process. Like if you think about like most authors take like 2 to 5 years to write a book, like that is a 2 to 5 year schedule in a sense to take months of, extreme productivity and extreme rest. So I'm fine with it. I am, like, kind of paranoid, so I won't say what it's about, but I will say it's like a funny I kinda wanted to be my generation's Gossip Girl, because Gossip Girl, maybe you guys know, is like a book series before, and I just feel like we need, like, a kind of, like, bitchy, funny, kind of like YA novel. It's kind of maybe more for, like, older teenagers, like 16 to 19, I think, would enjoy it, and I guess speaking of career stuff, like Dream of Dreams is that it would get adapt similarly to Gossip Girl, adapted for a TV show, and then I wouldn't have to worry about adjuncting for $1,800 a class, after I get the PhD.
nice?
Um, but that's all I'll say about the book. But I'll also say this is interesting just if anyone's writing fiction, it's I have 50,000 words right now for the manuscript, and a full book is around 60 to 80, so I need another, like, 10 to 20, and then I have my own kinda, like, process and, like, ideas about how I will get the book into, like, agents' hands and hopefully into people's hands on in bookstores. But before that, as, Dana mentioned, thank you for mentioning that, I have, this is self-published, just, like, a little collection of erotica, but it's sort of there's, like, short stories. Everything in it is, like, semi-erotic, but it's not traditional erotica in the way you might think, although some of it is. But that's, self-published, and you can just get on my site. So,
Nice.
um,
Out
yeah.
on December 10th or available now?
You can, buy it now, but it'll ship December 10th, so in time for,
Okay.
like, holidays and the winter and stuff. Um,
Tell us
so
about that because this is this sounds very racy. Tell us a bit more about what people will find in there.
I how you guys get, like I can talk about, like, whatever, right? Like, I don't know what
Oh my
the
God.
nature
Oh
of this
yeah, you
podcast
can
you guys
do
okay.
not say anything here.
You guys are cool. You
You
guys
can
are
do
cool.
whatever you want.
Okay, I guess I'll start by saying one of my favorite articles that I've ever written on my Substack is The Lost Art of Dry Humping, where I just write about this, like, lost art, and I write about, I had, like, a much, much older lover earlier this year. She was speaking of generations, she was in her 60s, and we just had this, like, much more, like, slow kind of sensual, but like still very passionate, like kind of like 2 month long affair situation. And I just wrote about kind of like my generation. I mean, I guess maybe also it could just be youth, but like we're very fast, we're very like results oriented, and nobody really enjoys like just the process for the sake of the process. And so I kind of but I do give like a very erotic description of, the like a night that we had together, but also kind of musing more like broadly about like personal erotics and things like that. But I'll say the book has some stuff that's on my Substack, but then it's also going to be a lot of stuff that's not on, because like why would I sell something that you can just get online? But some people also might want some of those in print. So it'll have some of that. It'll have some short stories, also like some stuff that is like third person fictional. Like I do like writing like that, like not just personal. It's gonna have some like flash fiction, like stuff that's maybe 500 to 1,000 words, and then some things that are like 40 pages long. So it'll be like a pretty wide ranging collection.
I
Um,
love it. I'm
Amazing.
pulling your
That's
link in
incredible.
here again.
The only thing I would say about publishing and fiction is do it as early and quickly as you can. I've got a book that I've been writing for God, like 8-10 years at this point, and I'm self-publishing it on Substack. I'm a total sci-fi nerd. It's sci-fi. But it's something that I've wanted to do forever, and I wish I had started sooner. So, like, you're young, keep going, just full speed ahead. Honestly, like that's ultimately my advice, is just like full speed ahead. Don't let anyone tell you what you can or can't do. Just go for whatever you want to do.
Yes.
wait, what's the book about? Or can we hear a little bit more about it?
So it's honestly I've been racing history. I feel like I started writing it about a decade ago, and it's was about how so it's set in 2042 after the American Second Civil War, which got triggered because the 2024 election went horribly awry. And seriously, like I at this point, I'm like, there are entire chapters that I'm like, this was a prediction that I never published, and yeah. And so it's because I'm queer, it's all queer characters. So there's four main point of view characters. There's a trans woman living in Cascadia. There's a black woman who's a lesbian living. She's the president of Cascadia. There's a gay kid growing up in the new Confederacy in the South. And then there's an assassin character from Brazil who's uh, into like massive amounts of kink, basically. And yeah, like it's all of that. And then there's a new technology that's invented that kind of changes the world and starts bringing the world back together. So, um, it's I love it. I have published 6 chapters so far, and I mean, I've got maps and flags and everything. I'm super into it, and I wish I had started to try to get published sooner, because getting published for fiction now seems really really hard.
And also now it seems like you're just talking about current events when in reality you foresaw them. It was
Right,
supposed to
predicted
be
them.
like science fiction, and now it's actually a reality, some of it. Which
Wait, I'm excited to find out what this technology is. I also, sorry, to your earlier point about I'm gonna get my PhD through the next American Revolution and be a
Right.
professor in the new America. I love that thought. I'm gonna repeat that. But maybe I'll say one, I'm gonna repeat that. And also I had a similar but less idealistic thought of just like on a lesser scale, no revolution, but just maybe like AOC or someone better will be elected in the next election, and then funding will return, and people will care about all kinds of degrees again. But a revolution would be honestly better and amazing, because I think America's a high time for that. But also maybe that's your next, if you want to get the prediction in, maybe you need to write your sequel needs to be like the revolution after the Civil War
Yeah. Yeah.
novel.
Yeah, actually, it kind of so the technology that gets invented is portal technology, right? But it's not like alien portals. It's just like very smart scientists invent portals, like kind of cheap and easy portals. And so suddenly you can go anywhere, right? As long as you ship the other end to wherever you're going, you can connect any two places. And so, and it's like how the world would actually sort of go back towards war, because it's such a valuable technology that everyone would want it. So yeah, So we're at the top of the hour. We've got a question that we'd like to ask everybody. You don't have to pick Gen X songs. You could pick a Gen Z song or millennial song, but we'd like to ask what you think the ultimate Gen X song is, but then also tell us what the ultimate Gen Z song is.
Okay, wait, I actually love Gen X music, or at least what I think Gen X music is, because my mom is Gen X. She was born in 74, and her music was like the first music I heard, and I honestly love it. Okay, you can tell me if these are not Gen X songs. I actually have no concept, but I love, okay, all the 80s music, like Joan Jett, Cyndi Lauper, Pat Benatar, Blondie, like all that stuff is the best. And then my mom was also like really into a lot of the I don't even know what years these would have been, 85 to 2005, I don't know, rock songs, but, like, she played a lot of Green Day, The Killers, love The Killers, so I would say, like, all the girl, like, pop and rock and The Killers are my favorites,
Yes, one of
yeah.
us.
These are great picks.
Those are
Are these
awesome
do I
picks.
have it right?
Yeah,
You do.
absolutely, like, spot on.
I love that your mom raised you on a diet of, like, badass Gen X iconic women. Like, early ones, like Joan Jett and Pat Benatar, like that's awesome.
Yeah.
No wonder
No.
you're so cool.
Wait,
Hi,
what
Mom.
other recommendations do you guys have if this is what I like of the Gen X music? Who am I missing?
Oh my gosh. I
mean-
always Liz Phair. I mean, I don't know if that's a
Oh
little
my
later,
God, Liz
that's the
Phair for
90s,
sure.
but go get Liz Phair, Exile in Guyville immediately.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to like the 90s iconic PJ Harvey, Bjork. Who am I forgetting in this list? Oh, there's so many. We'll dive in. We also have to have you back on because didn't even get to touch the surface about dating.
Yeah, the juicy stuff we missed out on, guys.
missed
Go
the
back for the
juicy
juicy stuff.
Yeah, we had to talk about Taylor all that time. So we would love to have you back on. Maybe
Yes, please
let's
come
do
back.
it right around your book release time in December.
Oh my God, somebody in the chat said Jane Seabury. Jane Seabury, she's so fucking cool.
Oris loves her. Oh yeah, Sinead O'Connor for me.
Oh God,
and then
Fiona Apple.
Fiona
Yeah.
Apple. Yeah, people
so many good choices.
Sarah McLachlan, Paula Cole, Hart, of course. Yeah, in all seriousness, I would love to see another Lilith Fair. The documentary is out now, so yeah, that could happen. Go listen to Sinead O'Connor, The Lion and the Cobra too. That was like iconic early record for Lawrence
God.
and me. Her first album was like, I've been playing it for my kids since she died a bit, and they're like, wow. Like, she was like 18 when she wrote all the songs and recorded it too, which makes it even more mind-blowing. Someone is saying the Red Hot Chili Peppers in the chat, who I hate with a white hot passion, but I have to just acknowledge, like, it says it in my profile, like, that's like a band that I'm just like, makes me want to pull my eyes out and stick them in my ears so I don't have to hear Anthony Kiedis' stupid voice. I know. This has been so fun.
So awesome. Please come back and visit us again.
I'm serious.
Yes, this was so lovely.
If you want to have a release party, let's talk about erotica and dating to celebrate the release of your book in December.
I'm so excited. Yes, December. I will see you guys again. Thank you so much, Jane and Lawrence. You guys were so fun to talk to. Like, new favorite people on here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
And we got to talk about dating. I need to hear about your guys' dating lives.
Oh my gosh.
We can't wait to talk again. Take care.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. Mwah. Mwah.